Hey guys, and welcome to another week of hobby. So, hobby vlog time. Well, I've been doing a lot of work as per usual at the start of the week. I thought I'd start by showing off this little one here that we worked on last week, but now I've finished. So yeah, it's kind of really cool. I think this is going to be a great color scheme for a gaming army for Age of Sigmar for the new Stormcasts that are coming. So I think this will be a good base, and the new ones don't have as much robes on them, so you get a lot more of that burnished brass color and only small amounts of black and bone. Although I do like all the robes on them as well, so the old models with the new should go really well together. And so in the end, for the contrast here, I ended up going for the greeny one, so it's I don't think I have it with me there, but anyway, it's the more turquoise color one that's like more green to blue, and yeah, so it just gives you a bit of a color in there in the black, but I left the robes just straight black with gray highlights, so you get a bit of a difference in tone, and then sort of a blue to green crystal there, and I think that's going to work really well. So yeah, we'll see how it goes, but I'm really happy with that as a base. And what else? So then I just completed the next tutorial in this, so I've got one more to go next week, but this one, by the time this comes out, the tutorial's already out, or would have come out yesterday. But yeah, we did all the glazing on those heads, the bits of cloth and everything with the reds, and glazed into them with blues and purples, yeah, and the top knot as well. So I think it came out really cool. So he's looking really good. So we just got to do the base, and then a little bit of work on the skin, and then all the little drips and stuff, and he should come out really good. So yeah, I'm really happy with this, and it'll be 7 parts, so that's great. So the mark of Nurgle is coming through. It's a strong sign. So yeah, really cool. So if you haven't seen any of those, go back and watch them because they are really good. This last one is a very long cut, so there's a lot of work in there. So I haven't like skipped anything out, so you see the full process. In total, the 7 parts will be probably well over 3 hours. So you're getting like a really good block of time to just put that on in the background, and you can just be painting away and getting some good advice and stuff as you're learning the ropes of glazing, color theory, painting layers and highlights, all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of information there, even if you're not doing Nurgle. It's definitely a pretty cool series, I think, anyway. So yeah, what else we've got? I started work on this now, so I've done the legs there, we can see on the Lord of Contagion, and working on the arms there, just building up those colors, and then I'll go back in and glaze them with the contrast like I've done on the previous ones. If you've watched any other vlogs when I was doing Typhus, so he'll get a similar treatment to Typhus, that type of style. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting him done. And then I was so inspired by the last lot of my Marines that I decided to come back in and start doing a few extras. So I'll be doing them probably this week as well if I get a chance. And they come up like this guy. So yeah, my basic style for the Marines, and goes really fast. So hopefully we'll get that, and that's a very similar, as you can see, very similar style to the Stormcast. So it's a very, very fast color scheme, and I'll end up doing like probably a full tutorial on how to do this, and a hobby tips one on how to do the silver, because I got a few comments on Instagram about it, so I figure people want to know that. So it's all to do with the glazing and stuff like that. To get that nice luster, it's a combination of things, but one of the things that makes it read really, really nice is the deep purples and blues and magentas that are in the shadows, and it helps bump that up a lot. So including the highlights as well, with the silver highlights. But yeah, that little color shifting in the shadows really helps make that stand out. So yeah, that's where we're at. It's looking pretty good. I'm pretty excited for the rest of the week, and hopefully it continues. Got a couple of days off, so we'll see what happens. Doing a bit of sculpting as well, so that's really good. But yeah, I guess we'll see how the rest of the week goes, eh? Alright, I'm back. Yeah, so it's I guess the weekend now, and yeah, unfortunately I didn't get a huge amount done. Yeah, the midweek, a few, I guess, life things happened, and a few days got caught up in other stuff, so yeah, I didn't get a chance to do too much more. But I did build some of these Stormcasts so I can do some more tests for this color scheme. So that's pretty cool. I'm probably going to, I would say, do a little hobby tips video on this one, and I'll do like the how to do the brass armor. So for anyone that's interested in that process, as I've done one for the metals that's on my channel for this, so I'll do the same for the Stormcast. That should be pretty cool. So yeah, I think that'll be a good start. And then when AOS 3 releases and stuff, I'll do like a full tutorial, like one of my long format ones that I do, the how to paint ones, on going from start to finish with this color scheme. So I think it's really good. I think it's the kind of color scheme that basically anyone can do, and the reasons for that are that it gives you areas that are quick and easy to do and relaxing, like the metals and so on, and some of the glazing and that sort of thing. And then it has a few spots where you can focus your attention and, you know, develop your skills. That's in the layering and highlighting for the cream color for the bone and the little gem. So you have a few areas where you can spend a bit more time, and then other areas that are a bit faster to do. And so that's a good mix when you're looking for like a gaming standard army. You don't want, I think that's where most people generally kind of sometimes miss out on that sort of thing, where, you know, all the techniques are fast techniques, and so there's nowhere in that where you're kind of developing some of your fine motor skills for some more detailed stuff, because overall that's what will set these kinds of quicker color schemes apart, is when you have little moments of interest that are a little bit more developed, and overall it tricks your eye into thinking that the whole color scheme is a lot more higher done than what it might look on the surface. And so yeah, I think jumping between those two things, between quick and long form kind of techniques, and blending them is a good way to find that happy middle ground, so that you end up with something that you still like, you know, a year down the track. Because that's part of the thing that I've always found when doing like speed painting armies, is that you often don't end up really liking them that much or using them that much later on, you know, or you end up wanting to go on to something else. So to have those models that you still love and you still like to look at and enjoy, I think having something on the model that you do spend a bit more time on, you know, the focal area or whatever it is, the face, or the, you know, a key part on the model to make it more interesting. I think that ultimately gives you more longevity with those models and with that army, and so you're more likely to spend time. But that also could just be, you know, instead of the paint job, maybe it's the conversion. You know, I've talked about this too. So whatever you find most interesting about the hobby, whatever side of that is, you know, try to invest a little bit more time and energy into that aspect of it. So instead of the painting, maybe it's the converting. So you do more effort in that area, and so in the end, you like the model more because you've got just one element that exists on that model that is a bit more personal to you and took a bit more time. Because really, that length of time you spend devoted to that is going to deepen your connection to that thing. If you just rush through everything, you're not feeling much of a connection to those things, and so yeah, you generally lose interest. So that's just my little rant on that subject. But otherwise, to cut a long story short, I think it'll be a fun one to do a tutorial on, and hopefully everyone enjoys that. Yeah, I think so. So that's where that is, and I'll get some paint on these guys at some point during the end of the week. And yeah, the other thing I got to do was finally work on this, which I think is pretty cool. And yeah, like, I'm glad I've finally got work on him. So his armor is all done now. It's been glazed, and I'm just working on all the secondary details, filling them all in. And yeah, I think it came out really cool. So hopefully maybe towards the end of next week or a little bit into the week after, he should be done, and that completes my HQs for the Death Guard army that I've been doing for forever. And the only things left after that will be, I'm doing some of those Death Shroud. So I've got one list where there's 4 and one list where there's 6, so I'll probably just paint all 6 of them, and then I can play around with that, because as I've been mentioning in previous videos about Death Guard, I've got this sense that actually you don't really need to use Virons at all, the elite choices, and you can just go for, and the HQs are actually far more viable, and taking 3, like 2 patrols or 2 detachments of any sort where you can have your 3, so your Demon Prince and 2 others, I think is a much more viable choice. You lose a bit of CP, but there isn't really, you don't really need all, like, Death Guard, to me anyway, don't feel like they really need to use a lot of stratagems. There are some key ones that are important that you want to be using, but a lot of them are quite cheap, and so I find that, you know, and you can have a tallyman if you really want to, like have one Viren in there, your tallyman or whatever, and that can generate your CP back. But even then, I don't even know if that's even needed. I know a lot of more competitive players use it and those sorts of things, but really the only Viren choice I would use for more competitive play would be just the Blight Spawn, just because of the fact that it negates, you know, it'll force things to go last when they charge, and that counterplay is really important in a tournament situation. But you might have a tallyman as well, but even then I think you can get away without it, because if you design the army to function without the need of CP, like the only thing in my eyes that you really want to use all the time is the Cloud of Flies. You know, you want to be negating shooting to one of your units every turn, because that's, so you're free, and you get your free CP for that. So that's your free CP. I'm pretty sure it's still 1 CP, and then you can just throw that on who you need. You know, that means one of your units, maybe your scoring unit on an objective, is not getting shot at each and every turn, and that's really powerful. So that's mitigating quite a lot of damage. And if they don't have snipers, then you can throw it on the death shroud. They lose their ability to shrug wounds for someone nearby, but they still have lookout sir and that sort of thing, like for you know, HQs near around. So if the opponent doesn't have any snipers, then you don't really need that shrug off mechanic until you get to combat. So you can use the Cloud of Flies on them. That protects them as a unit, so then they can't be shot at, and the HQs around can't get targeted anyway if there's no snipers, so as long as you're positioned well. And so then you have an invulnerable unit in the center, or somewhere in the center moving up, taking the mid ground. So I think there's, like, in a lot of cases, you sort of don't even need a lot of the other strats. I mean, they can be good. It depends on how you're attacking the army, but in all the games I've played so far, I've found most of it not really that necessary. It's fun if you want to build around it, but their base mechanics are how they work. Like, they have such good basic, I guess, abilities that you can play the game raw without anything else, and they still play just fine. And so I think that's also one of the great strengths of the Death Guard book, is that it really does allow you just to learn 40k, yeah, in a pretty user-friendly way, which is really cool. So yeah, anyway, that's just a few little rants on that. But yeah, so I'm pretty happy with how everything's going. My little man up here will get finished next week, so you'll see that done. So that's for next. This will be out on Sunday, so next Saturday, Australia time, that'll be the finish of that one, which is really cool. And then we'll be moving on to something else. But once AOS drops, I'll definitely do a Stormcast series and a few other ones like that related to the new stuff. Hopefully I can get a box of that new Dominion box. That'll be really cool. And do some fun stuff with that, but we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I think that's probably about it for this week. Hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you guys are all getting your hobby done and that sort of thing, and you know, fighting the good fight against the grey, as it were. But otherwise, yeah, have a great day, and I'll catch you on the next one.